You don't have to settle for mediocrity or low income as a copywriter or a marketer. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. Your marketing skills are more powerful than ever before. The media is so powerful today, so intrusive to individuals' lives, so everywhere, that mastering that media gives you an unfair advantage over your competition. Let me explain. First off, if you are a copywriter, marketer, or business development professional, you have certain skills to amplify a message that can transform society. The problem is that most copywriters think they write copy. Most marketers think that they create marketing campaigns, and most business development professionals are really just salespeople selling their concepts rather than implementing and creating results for clients. How do we change this? First off, you have certain skills and performance abilities that other people just don't know about. So first off, you need to market yourself. You need to take time every day to market what it is that you do, not so much, but instead focusing on what it is that your efforts create. What is it that you create for your customers? What is it that they want, dream about, and desire that you can help them achieve? So you don't have to be the best copywriter. You need to find people who you can benefit and deliver certain outcomes in their copy. Now, it doesn't have to be just copy, and that's why we also support business development professionals, because sometimes their systems don't work. A better sales letter isn't going to sell a product that nobody wants. And if you do sell the product and they can't make any money off of it, then you really can't deliver on the promises of the best sales letter. So we want to go beyond just what you do and become a marketer of what you do. And through that marketing of what you do, convey upon the customer the same concept. Now, how do we reach customers? Because we all have that problem. You get customers, and then you work with those customers, and then you don't have any customers because while you're working with these customers, you didn't go get new customers, and every contract has an end, every project has a finish. What do? Well, again, we want to leverage that media to reach the largest audiences possible. And we do that through our marketing materials. Now, again, we don't want to reach everybody. We want to reach our target audience. We want to saturate our target audience. So you need to pick a niche. You need to pick a specific customer that you can work with, and that can be informed by your past experiences. You want to focus on what unique values you have to for these individuals, and then you want to actively market them. Now, my favorite way to get new clients is to go in and build a Dream 100 list. That is a list of the 100 most desirable prospects in your marketplace. And the first thing you're going to do with these folks is you're going to focus on surveys and research to know exactly what their problems are. And then based on the problems they have, identify solutions you can deliver. Now, another thing that I will do is I will deliver them through networks of individuals rather than through my own services. Because what I found out when I was doing computer consulting is I could fix a lot of computers. I could troubleshoot a lot of networks. I could design systems and install them. But if I was doing that, I wasn't out getting that next customer. So what I needed to do is I subcontracted in wiring installers. I subcontracted in computer manufacturers or computer installers. I subcontracted in the people I needed, and I focused mainly on growing the business and growing the customer base and helping customers solve problems. So you're going to go from doing all of the work to maybe adding a few copywriters, maybe adding a few formulas that you use, maybe recycling by focusing on a niche. You're going to recycle your customer research, and you're going to enhance it when you go to work with a specific customer. And then you're going to take their controls and rewrite their controls, take them to the next level. But you're not going to spend everything from scratch. You're not going to start at zero. Now, I know a lot of folks, when you want to reach a large audience and you want to test the waters, throw the spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks. That is not the right approach. Start with the Dream 100 list. 100 people that you will contact every week if necessary. Now, it's going to get annoying contacting them by email, so you want to get their postal addresses, contact them by postal mail, contact them by being in front of them with designated audiences through pay-per-click, through social media. You want to be in front of them in a meaningful way, moving them forward to their outcomes and objectives. This is a leverage point that you gain using media. And while you're focusing on those 100 individuals, you will very often pick up others that are not on your list. You'll pick it on by pass along. You'll pick it up by referral. You'll pick it up because when you do a target audience, you may not be able to look at individuals, but you might be looking at individuals like them or who have similar behaviors to them. Now, this doesn't mean you get out there and you blog and you write reports and you do podcasts and all these other things. You can be successful with all of that. In fact, the honest truth about my podcasts is that when they're published, it can be months before anybody listens to them. Okay? And now that was the past. Sometimes things pick up, sometimes they don't. The reason I'm recording these podcasts is because I'm actually testing topics that are relevant to my Dream 100 list. I've done the research and I know that they're interested in X, Y, and Z. I cover those X, Y, and Z, and then I send a message directly to those individuals and say, oh, by the way, my recent podcast just covered X. And you mentioned you were interested in X. And if you've got any questions about X, then contact my office. So if I get 1 or 2 visitors on a podcast, I'm fine with it because I know those 1 or 2 people move forward. I actually did a proposal for some work, and it was about a $32,000 job, and they ended up going with somebody else, but I knew that they were not hooked on the solution because early in the interaction, they never went to see the walkthrough video. They never went to see the report of findings or download the report of findings to review it. They took the proposal and they didn't take any steps before it or after it to move forward. Now, I've got a proposal that I recycled a bunch of times because other people have the same problems, but I could see that, hey, when I followed up and said, oh, I noticed that you mentioned such and such a challenge in our consultation. Here's some materials to help you get started on solving that problem. And they never clicked the link. Well, that tells me something about that prospect. But it also gives me a piece of content I can put in my newsletter series. It gives me a piece of content I can send out in a letter in a magnetic marketing campaign. It gave me something that was finished and ready to use that multiplied my time through media. Rather than individual effort, I multiplied my time through media. When you do get a customer, you need a system for onboarding the customer. That client needs to come on board, set expectations early, identify the scope of work. From the scope of work, build out a project plan, and then execute for that customer. If you spend a lot of time going back and forth with customers who change their mind or have lots of weird questions that you don't have packaged answers for, then you're in a situation where you're not digging in the gold mine. To dig in the gold mine, you have specific customers who you know and even have case studies to show that you can help that customer. You have customers who have money to spend. You have customers who want what it is that you provide. You have customers that you know a lot about so that you can speak specifically to their needs. Too many copywriters, too many marketers, too many business development professionals are happy to get anybody to knock on their door. That's why they open agencies and they're like, oh, we're a marketing agency. We're a new media agency. We're a digital media agency. They keep changing. What I do is help my clients create and keep profitable customers. Call me what you want, but when I come to your business, I'm going to help you create and keep profitable customers. That's it. That's it. Now, in order to do that, sometimes we're going to do business process optimization. Sometimes we're going to look at your marketing plan. Sometimes we're going to look at the math behind your existing marketing campaigns. We're going to do lead source analysis or attribution analysis. We might do SEO one day, and the next day we might be looking at the mechanics of how your leads get through the system so that you can know who bought and who didn't. We might be doing list management, but ultimately we do what is necessary to create and keep profitable customers. What is your USP? What is the unique thing that you do for customers? What is the outcome that your customers most desire? How can you transform from where they are to where you want to be? Now, you could go and talk to 1,000 people and say the same story all the time, and you have these little nuggets of stories and examples, case studies, reports, methodologies for approaching this. Why not get those down in writing and start creating some kind of meaningful book, report, or physical artifact that represents your authority and expertise in the marketplace, that positions you in that marketplace rather than just random blog posts. Now, I go through and I have topics for each of my podcasts. Those podcasts will get transcribed and turned into reports. There's promotional materials for each podcast that gets used as letters that go out to targeted individuals and offer them the special report, or they offer them the link to the podcast. Their click on that link tells me whether they're interested or not interested. Every step along the way, whether it's a survey, whether it's a click on a link, whether it's visiting a specific landing page, tells me more and more about the interest of the individuals who are going onto that site. I don't need 1,000 unique visitors a day. Actually, I have had websites in the past that had 1,000 unique visitors a day. When I started implementing these methods that I'm teaching you, I started to realize most of them were coming from university campuses. Most of them were broke. They didn't have any money. They were dreamers. Many of them were not serious about doing anything about their business. They were serious about learning, and I could sell them reports that taught them stuff, but nobody actually used the damn report, so they weren't implementers. They weren't producers. And I started whittling down the list. And I went from like 19,000 leads to like 5,000 leads, and then I kept narrowing it down. But when you work from the other side, where you pick your 100 most ideal customers, you write up an avatar about that customer, you start building out the characteristics of that customer's needs and desires, and then you start approaching that customer directly, the rest of the stuff takes care of itself. What media should you use? Well, where are your ideal customers? What types of messages should you use? Well, see, my ideal customers are not on the internet all the time. They're actually out there working. They're running a business. They're working 8 to 10 hours a day in the business, and then 4 to 5 hours a day doing the paperwork, keeping the bookkeeping straight. They're managing teams. They've got people in the office. They've got people working remotely. They've got people in places getting things done. They've got vendors that need to deliver on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so that they can be ready for the Tuesday job they got finishing off with the customer. They're interested in project management because they realize there are so many things going on that if you don't have a focused way to get this work through the pipeline, then you're not going to deliver for customers with expectations. Or worse, you'll work yourself to death and not earn enough to cover the revenues that you're desiring. So again, what is it that you really do in business? Yes, you're a marketer of the services that you provide. Who provides those services? Well, it could be a network of individuals. It could be people on your staff, but it shouldn't be 100% you. And finally, who receives and benefits from these services? That's your target audience. That's who you focus all your effort on. That's who you contact and stay in touch with. That's who you serve through the knowledge and expertise which you are capturing in artifacts that position you, that can get out ahead of you through the media, and ultimately create the outcomes that you desire. Now, if you're looking for resources to create an information product, for example, to better position your marketing or automate your marketing, if you're looking for resources to revamp what you're doing to know what works and what doesn't, then visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk. You can ask your questions. I am available on a limited basis for paid consultations, but ultimately, my team can usually get you in the right direction. I can get you in the right direction with a simple consultation. That is what needs to be done, because if you're only making $100K a year gross, then you'd be better off working minimum wage somewhere. If you're going to make a 6-figure position, you need to have a 7-figure gross on the company. In order to have a 7-figure gross on the company, you're either going to be extremely busy, or you're going to structure your organization in such a way that you can achieve that kind of revenue with partnerships, mutual agreements, royalty agreements, working with a bigger, better customer. Get a customer that's more profitable and is used to writing bigger checks. We cover all this and more at the website, www.adbriefings.co.uk. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, helping copywriters, marketers, and business development professionals transform business relationships into profits to create and keep profitable customers. And this has been about the more that you can do to create the outcomes you desire. Thanks for listening.